So in the next video for the Gnome De Plume gnome, we will be talking about the leaf tip for the hat. We've finished with color 1, so I'm going to clip it off. You don't need as long a tail as you would normally because we're not actually going to be sewing that in. So the instructions have us join color 3 at the rightmost stitch. So we're still pretending we're gonna work it kind of I-cord style. So we're gonna attach it here on this side, and then we're gonna leave a tail about the same length as the other color. And now, all right, so we're going to knit front and back. It's a little floppy with everything unsecured, but that's all right. We're going to be dealing with that. So that's knit front and back, knit 2, knit front and back. All right, so now the directions have us stop and tie 2 overhand knots in the tails. So I've got the new yarn and the old yarn, and all we're going to do is we're going to cross them. The one on top goes under. I'm going to tie a nice, fairly snug. And then we're going to do a second time, over and under, tie a second knot. And so that has given us a nice join there. The instructions tell us to join the stitches evenly over 2 needles. So in other words, 3 stitches per needle. You could knit this over a more typical knitting in the round method, and that's of course your choice, but I find working with just these 2, it's possible, and it just seemed to make things a little more straightforward. So I've divided them over 2 needles. I've got the working, or not the working ends, I've got the ends coming out here, and I've got the working yarn coming off the stitches on the back needle, just like you would when you're working in the round. The front stitch does not have working yarn attached to it, but the nearest stitch, kind of in that circle, will have the yarn coming off of it. So now I need another needle. So we're going to always be working around these 2 ends. We're just going to keep looping as we make our little leaf topper, and by working around those ends, we don't have to sew them in at the end. We've knotted them, and now we're just going to kind of work around them, and then we'll clip them and they'll disappear inside the little leaf topper. So what does that look like working around them? Round 1, we just knit all. So however you like to hold your yarn, you do that. Knit the first needle, 1, 2, 3, and then knit the second needle, and you'll notice that I'm kind of keeping those ends out of the way. I just keep sort of flipping them over whatever is the back needle in the equation here. And then I'm going to knit around here. 1, 2, whoops, got to knit that last one. Slide it back and knit it. All right, that's round 1. Round 2, so I'm going to flip to the front, to an unworked needle again, and I'm going to flip those ends around to the back. All right, so round 2 has us knit 1, then make 1 right, and to do that, you've got to pick up the running yarn and place it on the needle so that it's tighter in the front. And then I always like to use my ring finger to push this forward a little bit so I can get the space to get my needle tip in and loop through. So we've just made 1 right, then we knit 1. Now we're going to make 1 left, and to do that, we put the running yarn on so that the tighter bit is at the back. So my tip for the make 1 left is, rather than trying to go through the back and get into that tight space back there, I actually go through the front, hop over that needle, making sure that the left needle tip sort of stays there, and get my way back that way. And then you draw the yarn through and knit 1. So that's half the stitches. The pattern is written in panels, so the pattern is written, so that's 1, but we have to repeat it on the other half. So again, we're going to flip those tails behind us. So now I've knit round 2 of the leaf panel. I'll come back in a few rounds and we'll keep talking. All right, I'm back. I'm on the second half of round 10, where I'm just knitting all. I've got 5 stitches per needle. And you can see I'm just holding the one needle while the other one dangles behind and is nice and free. And I'm working around those ends. So after, I wanted to remember to talk about this. When working the leaf, it can get a little hard to tell which is the front and which is the back because we don't have any way to tell. So it could be a good idea to just attach a removable stitch marker to the front panel or the front of the panel. All right, so we've worked round 10. We've knit all the stitches, all 10 of those. And so all you're going to do now is you're just going to take your scissors and just snip them. Snip off those 2 ends. That's done. We tied a double knot down below, so they just need to be buried. Now we can go on and do our next set of decreases. So those ends are just going to pop down. We're going to keep working. I will do my knit 2 together left, which is my preferred left leaning decrease. So you can see those ends have already disappeared. There's no problem. We're gonna go on and finish, and I'll see you in the next video if you need help with the centered double decrease. In the meantime, happy knitting.